Stand up right now if you're physically able. Go ahead. I'll wait here while you get to your feet. Once you're standing, take just a moment to really notice how your body and mind feel in this exact instant. Do you sense any subtle stiffness beginning to settle into your joints or slowly creeping into your lower back? Perhaps a heavy, deep fatigue weighing down on you? Or that familiar mental fog quietly clouding your thoughts? Here's a crucial truth that far too many older adults overlook or minimize. The mild cognitive slowing you're noticing right now, those annoying little memory slips, difficulty finding the right word, or that overall sense of mental dullness, may not be an inevitable or truly normal part of aging, even though so many have quietly come to accept it as unavoidable. Let me share the surprising, often ignored reality. These persistent sleep problems are silently and steadily eroding the long-term health and sharpness of your brain. The damage occurs quietly. No sudden pain, no loud warnings, and typically without you even noticing the gradual harm that's building up. What if I told you directly that the single biggest hidden factor quietly undermining brain health in so many older adults isn't excess sugar, isn't just years of stress, and isn't primarily genetics, but something far more common, routine, and entirely within your power to improve? Your sleep habits, routines, and daily patterns. I'm Dr. YouTube, and for more than 20 years, I've dedicated my career in clinical research to examining the profound, powerful connections between sleep and lasting brain health, especially as we get older. In my practice, the same troubling pattern appears with disheartening regularity. Older adults arrive feeling worried, often genuinely frightened, convinced that their increasing memory lapses, growing irritability or quick temper, or moments of confusion are simply unavoidable signs of aging that everyone must eventually accept. But in a surprisingly high number of these cases, when we examine the full picture carefully, the true underlying cause is something much more fixable, treatable, and manageable: the quality of their sleep. Or more precisely, how consistently they've been missing out on reliable, high-quality, deeply restorative sleep night after night. Much of the sleep advice people have followed for years, and much of what still appears in conventional recommendations, is unfortunately incomplete. It misses several of the most critical and influential details. Real sleep quality isn't primarily or only about the number of hours you spend in bed. In reality, sleep is the single most essential, non-negotiable daily period when your brain carries out vital behind-the-scenes maintenance and renewal. It actively clears out harmful metabolic waste and toxic proteins, such as the well-known beta amyloid linked to cognitive decline, that build up while you're awake. It firmly consolidates and strengthens the new memories and skills you acquired during the day. It performs careful repairs on fatigued or damaged neural connections. And it resets your emotional centers to restore balance, calm, and emotional resilience for the day ahead. When sleep is repeatedly interrupted, fragmented, shallow, or lacking true depth, even if the total time in bed seems enough, the brain is almost always the first organ to display the resulting damage, decline, and reduced function. From a solid clinical and neuroscientific perspective, the suprachiasmatic nucleus, SCN, your brain's master circadian clock, located in the hypothalamus, depends heavily on consistent, reliable timing cues from your daily habits and environment to stay properly aligned and perform at its peak. When bedtime fluctuates too much or lacks regularity, even by just an hour or two from night to night, the amount and quality of deep NREM sleep, essential for robust long-term memory consolidation and synaptic pruning, noticeably decreases, weakens, and becomes disrupted. A comprehensive long-term study at the University of Colorado Boulder tracked 300 adults over 8 years. The findings revealed that those with irregular or highly variable sleep schedules experienced a striking 30% faster decline, specifically in episodic memory, the kind used for recalling personal events and experiences. And this accelerated decline occurred even when their average sleep duration stayed roughly the same. Another common habit among many seniors is remaining awake in bed for prolonged periods, anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour or longer, night after night, while convincing themselves it's not a big deal or it only happens occasionally. But this practice is particularly harmful, insidious, and self-perpetuating. Your brain is an extraordinarily efficient, lifelong learning machine that continually forms strong associations between places, actions, and mental states. When you repeatedly lie awake, restless, or anxious in bed for weeks and months, your brain gradually begins associating your bed with wakefulness, alertness, rumination, worry, or mild stress, instead of the calm, profound, restorative sleep it should signify. Over time, this conditioned negative association results in lighter overall sleep architecture, much more frequent brief awakenings and fragmentation throughout the night, and a significant reduction in slow-wave, deep restorative sleep. Consider a straightforward, everyday analogy. It's like repeatedly trying to park your car, but leaving the engine running idle in the middle of a noisy, busy city intersection instead of pulling it into a quiet, sheltered garage. Your bed should be a peaceful, safe, predictable sanctuary, a genuine garage where your mind and body can completely unwind and recharge. But by staying awake and mentally active in it night after night, you unintentionally transform that tranquil space into something chaotic, like rush-hour traffic filled with constant stimulation. Research from Johns Hopkins University, which followed 250 adults aged 65 and older over an extended period, found that those who regularly spent long periods awake in bed had, on average, 42% more disruptive awakenings during the night and noticeably elevated levels of morning anxiety and tension. The gradual but genuine accumulation of effects includes progressively worsening daytime brain fog, persistent irritability or short temper, diminished emotional recovery, and even the onset or intensification of anxiety, even in individuals who hadn't experienced much of it previously. Picture your brain as a large, absorbent sponge during the day. It requires sufficient wakefulness pressure from extended active hours to be fully wrung out, cleansed, and refreshed during sleep. When you shorten that daytime buildup by heading to bed far too early, the nighttime processes of detoxification, repair, and memory strengthening cannot occur as completely or effectively. Detailed polysomnography studies from the University of Michigan showed that seniors with very early bedtimes, often 8 p.m. or earlier, had REM sleep cycles approximately 20% shorter on average, even when they remained in bed for 9 to 10 hours attempting to rest. This timing mismatch frequently resembles, and is often misattributed to, the initial signs of cognitive decline, or mild cognitive impairment. The encouraging news is that in the majority of instances, this is largely reversible through steady, intentional adjustments to bedtime. Furthermore, controlled research from Stanford University demonstrated that even moderate ambient light at night in adults 65 and older could suppress melatonin production by up to 50%. This suppression resulted in lighter, less efficient sleep stages, reduced memory formation and retention the following day, and modest but measurable declines in executive function. Far too many seniors underestimate how harmful this single, subtle environmental factor can be over the long term, primarily because the brain offers no dramatic, painful signals when melatonin is consistently reduced. The cognitive and emotional impacts accumulate slowly and silently over months and years, making the connection to poor sleep habits difficult to recognize in the moment. Consider Harold, for example, a 68-year-old man who progressively shifted his bedtime earlier and earlier, eventually settling on 7 p.m., believing more time lying down would lead to better rest, faster recovery, and greater daytime energy. Instead, the opposite occurred. He woke up fully alert at 3 a.m. every night, unable to return to sleep, lying there staring at the ceiling in frustration for hours. Subsequent neuropsychological testing revealed mild but distinct declines in short-term recall and working memory. He had also been taking low-dose sleep medication nightly for years, though its effectiveness had waned. Together, we established a strict, non-negotiable morning wake-up time, regardless of how little sleep he'd gotten, significantly reduced nighttime light exposure, particularly from screens and hallway lights, and gradually delayed bedtime by 15 minutes every few nights. Harold's deep sleep percentage increased by an impressive 35%, according to his sleep tracker. Within just 8 weeks of consistency, his word recall and list learning scores rose from 15 out of 20 to 19 out of 20. The heavy morning brain fog that had troubled him for years disappeared entirely, and his daytime mood shifted to calm, patient, and positive. The rest protocol successfully rebooted his brain's natural repair and regulation mechanisms. At the core of the rest protocol is rhythm, setting a fixed wake-up time every single day. Commit firmly to rising and getting out of bed at precisely the same time each morning, no matter how poorly or briefly you slept the previous night. Next is stimulus control, a well-established behavioral sleep technique. If you're lying awake in bed for more than 20 to 30 minutes at any point during the night, and sleep refuses to come despite your efforts to relax, get up quietly, keep lights very dim, using a small red or amber light for safety if necessary, and engage in something truly dull and non-stimulating, like reading boring pages from an uninteresting book, listening to calm, non-narrative sounds, gentle nature recordings or soft instrumental music, or sitting quietly in another room. The goal is to retrain your brain to strongly associate your bed and bedroom with rest, relaxation, drowsiness, and deep sleep, rather than wakefulness, overthinking, or anxiety. Research from Johns Hopkins indicated that this approach reduces average nighttime awakenings by about 42% in seniors within 6 weeks of consistent application. Then comes timing, the third pillar. Aim for a bedtime window generally between 9:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. for most seniors. Adjust slightly based on your natural chronotype or daily routine, but this range has strong supporting evidence. If your current bedtime is much earlier, like 7:30 or 8 p.m., move it later, gradually, in 15-minute increments every few nights, until you achieve better biological alignment. Finally, intentionally minimize nighttime light exposure and discuss any current sleep medications thoroughly with your doctor. After sunset, use only dim, warm, amber or red lighting at home, and avoid blue light screens, phones, tablets, TVs, etc., for at least 1 hour before bed, ideally 90 minutes to 2 hours. Protecting your natural melatonin is vital for deeper, more restorative sleep and for supporting overnight brain detoxification, memory consolidation, synaptic balance, and emotional reset. Even modest, consistent improvements in light control and screen habits frequently produce surprisingly substantial and enduring benefits in daily brain performance and overall well-being. To be completely clear and responsible, the REST protocol provides safe, evidence-based lifestyle and behavioral strategies to improve natural sleep quality and support brain health. It is not a medical cure, treatment, reversal, or prevention for diagnosed conditions such as dementia, Alzheimer's disease, vascular cognitive impairment, Lewy body disease, frontotemporal dementia, or other serious progressive neurological disorders. Never discontinue, alter, or adjust any prescribed medications, including sleep aids, antidepressants, blood pressure medications, cognitive enhancers, etc., without full discussion and approval from your physician or neurologist. If you have untreated obstructive sleep apnea, serious heart conditions such as congestive heart failure, recent heart attack, or arrhythmias, severe untreated depression, bipolar disorder, restless leg syndrome, chronic pain that disrupts sleep, or other significant medical or psychiatric conditions, consult your doctor, a sleep specialist, or appropriate expert before making major changes to your sleep routine. The wisest approach is gradual. Begin with a fixed wake-up time, slowly shift bedtime, then incorporate stimulus control and light management once the foundation feels solid. Gradual adjustments allow your body and brain to adapt comfortably and sustainably, far better than sudden changes. These steps are low risk, generally safe for most older adults when implemented thoughtfully, and supported by robust, peer-reviewed evidence demonstrating genuine improvements in sleep quality, cognition, and brain health with aging. My personal challenge to you today: choose just one element of the rest protocol, perhaps committing to a fixed wake-up time, even on weekends, gradually shifting bedtime toward 9:30 to 10:30 p.m., reducing evening light exposure, or using stimulus control when awake too long in bed, and follow it diligently for the next 30 days, without exceptions. Each day, jot down a brief note about how your mental clarity, mood stability, and memory reliability feel compared to before. After 30 days, return here and share openly in the comments what worked well, what was challenging, and any changes, large or small, in brain function, energy, mood, or sharpness. Your authentic experiences can inspire, encourage, and foster hope and connection for others facing similar struggles, while reinforcing your own commitment. Your brain has faithfully carried you through decades of life's ups and downs, joys, difficulties, accomplishments, disappointments, quiet victories, everything. It has been your companion, problem solver, memory keeper, and emotional anchor. It deserves far more than to be dismissed as just old age, when much of the decline may actually stem from correctable sleep issues rather than irreversible aging. The empowering truth is that you can take practical, science-backed steps right now to achieve sharper memory, improved focus, more stable emotions, and renewed mental energy, all through careful, consistent enhancements to your sleep habits. The overlooked reality persists. Poor, inconsistent, low-quality sleep, not merely sugar, not chronic stress by itself, not mainly genetics, is quietly accelerating brain function decline every day, often without pain or obvious signals. Over more than 20 years in senior brain health and sleep research and practice, I've witnessed this preventable pattern repeat in hundreds of patients. Memory problems, irritability, confusion, word-finding difficulties, daytime fatigue, and reduced resilience frequently arise from chronic sleep disruptions and suboptimal sleep patterns, not simply from aging alone. Sleep functions as active nightly brain maintenance, clearing toxins, storing memories, repairing connections, resetting emotions. When quality declines, the brain suffers first and most profoundly. The truth that so many continue to overlook, undervalue, or miss entirely is this: poor, disrupted, inconsistent, or low-quality sleep habits, not excessive sugar over the years, not chronic stress and isolation, not primarily genetic factors, are quietly and steadily damaging and hastening brain function decline every single day. Often without pain, without dramatic warnings, and without the connection being immediately apparent. After more than 20 years dedicated to senior brain health and sleep science in research and clinical practice, I've seen the same avoidable pattern countless times in hundreds of patients. Memory lapses, heightened irritability or emotional reactivity, increasing confusion or word-finding struggles, persistent daytime fatigue, and diminished mental resilience very commonly result from chronic sleep disruptions and less than optimal sleep structure, rather than unavoidable aging alone. Sleep is far more than passive rest. It's the essential, active nightly window when your brain manages critical housekeeping, clearing accumulated toxic metabolic waste, consolidating and reinforcing new memories for long-term storage, performing microscopic repairs to damaged or weakened neural pathways, and resetting your emotional equilibrium and limbic system for improved stability and adaptability moving forward. When sleep quality repeatedly diminishes, fragments, or becomes shallower, your brain inevitably bears the heaviest impact first and most severely, often long before other organs display clear signs. Thank you sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, for taking the time to watch, listen, or read all the way through. It means a great deal that you invested this time in learning about something so vital to your long-term well-being. Feel entirely free and encouraged to share your current age in the comments. It helps build community understanding. Or simply write the word foggy if that describes how your thinking or energy has felt lately. Or type "I'm in" if you're ready and motivated to begin at least one small, practical rest change tonight or tomorrow. Enhancing and safeguarding your sleep is one of the kindest, most powerful, accessible, and significant things you can do for your mind's long-term health, sharpness, and vitality. I truly appreciate you being here with me today, and I look forward to hearing from you soon, whether with a brain-restored note, your 30-day update, or a short comment on how this message resonated with you. Take wonderful care of yourself and your sleep until next time. One final gentle reminder as we conclude. The rest protocol changes are deliberately approachable, sustainable, and forgiving. You don't need to transform your entire life overnight. Attempting everything at once often leads to feeling overwhelmed and rapid burnout. That's precisely why the protocol stresses starting with just one pillar, rhythm, as the strongest and most foundational, since a consistent wake-up time establishes a reliable anchor for everything else to build upon. Once that anchor is secure, the other adjustments, bedtime timing, stimulus control, light management, become much easier and more effective. Many people starting this journey report that the first week or two feels a little strange, perhaps waking at the new fixed time feeling groggy after limited sleep, or resisting the urge to nap, a common impulse best gently avoided when possible to maintain nighttime sleep drive. These temporary discomforts are normal indicators that your internal clock and sleep pressure systems are recalibrating. They nearly always subside within 7 to 14 days as consistency strengthens and your circadian rhythm solidifies. If you encounter persistent challenges, like remaining extremely sleepy during the day after weeks of effort, or noticing loud snoring and gasping as reported by a partner, frequent leg movements waking you, or other signs of a potential underlying sleep disorder, please don't delay seeking professional help. A sleep study, polysomnography, or consultation with a board-certified sleep medicine specialist can identify treatable conditions such as sleep apnea, periodic limb movement disorder, or others that behavioral changes alone may not completely address. Resolving those core issues first often makes the rest protocol more effective and quicker. For most situations where accumulated poor sleep habits rather than a major undiagnosed medical sleep disorder are the primary concern, the strength of this approach lies in its simplicity and empowerment. No expensive devices, unusual supplements, or complex routines are required. What counts is consistency, patience, and assigning sleep the same priority you give to nutrition, exercise, and relationships. Sleep is not a luxury or optional extra. It's the foundation that enables every other aspect of life to function at its best. As you proceed with your selected single change over the next 30 days, approach it with curiosity rather than perfectionism. Notice what occurs when you adhere to your wake-up time even after a difficult night. Observe how energy, mood, and mental clarity shift, even subtly, when you reduce evening screens and bright lights. See if getting out of bed after 20 to 30 minutes awake reduces the time needed to fall back asleep upon returning. These small personal observations are powerful. They convert abstract science into tangible, lived evidence that your efforts are producing results. When the 30 days conclude, I sincerely hope you'll return and share. It can be short, something simple like, age 72, started with fixed 7 a.m. wake-up, fog lifting a bit each week. I'm in. Or, Foggy described me perfectly. After 30 days, no phone past 9 p.m., mornings feel clearer. Or, tough at first, wanted to stay in bed at 4 a.m., but stimulus control helped. Memory already sharper. Your voice matters. Every genuine contribution helps someone else reading now, feeling discouraged and wondering if change is possible at their age. It demonstrates they're not alone, that modest, consistent steps can yield real progress, and that it's never too late to provide your brain the nightly support it has quietly needed. In closing, here's my final thought. Aging itself is not the enemy of a sharp, vibrant mind. Neglecting the brain's most essential nightly recovery process is. By choosing, even in one small way, to prioritize better sleep structure, you're investing in enduring mental clarity, emotional balance, and resilience that enhance every part of life. You've already taken the hardest step by reading to the end and opening yourself to the possibility that just getting older may not be the complete story. Now, the next small step belongs to you. Select your one rest element tonight. Commit to beginning tomorrow morning. Track it gently for 30 days. Then come back and tell us how it went. Your clearer-minded future self is waiting on the other side of that consistency. Thank you once again for your time, your attention, and your openness to a fresh perspective on brain health. Sleep well, live sharply, and I look forward to hearing from you. Until next time, take good care.